this is GKTV Network. Please like, subscribe, and comment in the comment box below. Also, push that notification button for future updates. Thank you!
Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. This is Roszela Reigan para sa Usapang Sining at Pangkabuhayan. Ngayon, very excited ako kasi yung aking high school friend, high school classmate ay may i-interview natin ngayon dito sa GKTV. She's a multi-disciplinary artist and she's practicing her profession in the US. Ladies and gentlemen, ang aking good friend, si JHOIEY Ramirez.
Hi
JHOIEY!
everyone! Kamusta?
Hi. Wow! Marunong ka pa mag-Tagalog, ha?
Yes, born and raised. Pinay.
Gano'n ka nakatagal sa US?
I think, 20 years or more. Yeah, I moved here in 98, so.
98, wow. And every now and then, bumabalik ka pa sa Pilipinas? Or...
Yeah, may bahay pa rin ako dyan. So, in fact, bumili ako ng sarili kong condo there para hindi na ako nakikituloy sa daddy ko kung may bisita ako.
Are you planning to retire there in the US or dito sa Philippines?
It always have to be half and half dahil medyo sanay na ako dito, but I always love the Philippines kasi sobrang init minsan.
Hindi ka na sanay sa init, ha?
Hindi na masyado sanay sa init.
So, JHOIEY, okay. The last time I remember, we were high school in UST and nakakatuwa kasi parang, very jolly ka, very happy person, and parang life of the party. So, kumusta na si JHOIEY ngayon? Nasaan na siya? Ano na yung pinahak mong landas since that time na umalis ka sa Philippines? And can you give us a brief background kung yung background mo kung paano ka nag-start at paano ka napunta ngayon dito sa present status mo?
Yeah, so after high school, I continued with UST. Architecture sa CAFA. So I don't know if is it still called CAFA? So anyway, so I finished architecture sa USD, and while taking my architecture classes, I also started taking interior design classes sa Philippine School of Interior Design. So nung natapos na ako, nakagraduate na ako, my dad wanted me to work for him. My dad's a developer in the Philippines, dyan sa Pilipinas. So, but I didn't want to work for him. I wanted to work for a very specific architect, Lord Calma. Idol ko yun. So, what I did was I did my best to meet anyone from that office. I actually stalked the office, Nandun ako every day until I got an interview. And it was Lord Calma's son that found me outside. It's like, what are you doing here? And he interviewed me. So, siya na nga yun ang takeover ng Lord Calma as well. So, doon ako nagtrabaho, and I did the airport project for the first class lounge for Philippine Airlines. Nung tayo yung mag-welcome, oh my God, I forgot what it's been such too many decades. But, we were going to welcome international delegates. So we needed to have a very impressive first class lounge. So that's the project I took on with Lord Calma. And it was like 24 hours work. Well, not for me, but for the construction site. And I was there as much as possible. So it was really good training, Like I got pushed to my design limits, to my design abilities, to, you work hard, and it was very fulfilling because then you see this project and it's amazing. So I took a break. After that, I went to Los Angeles para bisitahin yung nanay ko. So my mom moved here when I was 15, so we visit her a lot. So during that visit, I ended up falling in love. I ended up falling in love to someone I've met years prior. Kasi nung college ako, we go every twice a year to para bisitahin yung nanay ko. So I met the guy that time. Tapos we just wrote to each other for 4 years. Teka lang, dapat sining to eh. Bakit love story bigla?
Naalala ko yung love life na yun, pero way back high school, meron pang love life yan eh. Pero course book na yata yun. So
I ended up marrying him and staying here. So that's the shortcut of the love story. So I ended up marrying. That was my first. I'm not married with that guy anymore. Anyway, so I stayed here in LA, and I think ang una kong trabaho dito was a ceramic artist. I didn't want to go back to architecture because I felt like I could not find another employment that would be as amazing as Lord Calma. So kudos to my trainee there. And so I started as ceramic artist, production artist, and I'm doing a lot of different ceramic pieces. So fast forward, I still do that now. But after a few months in doing ceramics, I realized that's not gonna pay the bills. So I had to go back to architecture. Tapos yung first job ko, dahil meron akong experience for airports, I got as a job captain and junior designer for Terminal 4 American Airlines sa LAX. So it's all of a sudden a big project too. So that really started my architecture career here. And so I did that until 2013 with different firms, different architecture firms, different developers. My last employment was a big developer of shopping malls. So I had wide range of experience. So after nun, parang, you reach your ceiling, nauntog ka na dun sa, na-reach mo na what you can reach. And so the job offers were all to lead a design firm, which was good, like I don't have to worry I'll be employed. But I thought, hey, if kung ako kaya kong kumuha ng clients for other companies, bakit di ko kayang kumuha for me? So doon ko naisip, I should just start my own. So I started Studio Joey Inc. I started thinking about it and I incorporated 2011. So there's a lot of planning involved, to make a creative business a business that could be lucrative. Like maraming planning, kailangan talaga prepared ka for the worst, like all the what ifs. So naging full-time ako sa studio noong 2014. So that was like 3 years of really good planning and saving and all that. And also, I do paintings, I do all these things. So I tried many things bago ko na start yung Studio Joey. I even opened an art gallery in the past because painting ako ng painting, saan ko di-display, ang hirap matanggap sa gallery. So I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna open my own gallery. So that lasted about a year. It was really fun. But it's more fun than income. So syempre, kailangan tayong mabuhay. So we have to find ways to make it more lucrative. So now, Studio Joey Inc., we were doing really good before the pandemic, so we slowed down a little bit, and now 2021 na, so we're starting to get busy again.
Okay, grabe no, ang dami mong pinagdaanan, Joey. So, tatanungin ko yung areas na yan. Like, for example, when you started Studio Joey, like, how much was the capitalization?
Oh yeah, lahat. So sa America may 401k plan, which is like your retirement plan. Okay, so whatever I put in during the entire time I was working here, naipon ko yon. So I pinull out ko yung retirement plan ko. So at that time, I think it was about $50,000 that I pulled out cash, and also I got I just saved a lot. So mga ganon, mga $50,000 to start with. Yeah. And I bought a nice car. I never had a nice car before kasi parang like whatever, you know. But when I started my own business, like ang turo ng daddy ko sa akin, to make money, you have to put money out, you know. Pera makes pera. So it's like you have to kind of not really create a false identity, but kind of just like embrace who you are. So also nung nagtatrabaho ako, like this is the more business side, you know, Tesla cars, you know, the electric cars. Nung nag-uumpisa yan, you can reserve a car that you would wait for like 3 taon bago mo makuha yung kotse. So, my boyfriend that time reserved the car for $5,000. And he's like, you should reserve your own car. And I didn't. I actually bought stocks of Tesla. And during that time, it was like $80 per stock. Nung nag-IPO sila, nasa 40 yata, no? So when I bought it was $80. So nung nagsimula na ako ng sarili kong business, yung $80 na stocks naging, ano na, I think that time it was 500 something.
Wow!
Yeah. So I pulled out, nagbinenta ko yung iba kong stocks, tapos bumili ako ng Tesla. So, because, you know, I'm starting my own business. I want to feel confident. You know, I want to feel like I've made it even before I've made it. So it's all a mind game, right? Like you have to really like prep yourself. So, ayun. So, yun ang una kong ginawa nung nag-start ako ng business. Bago ko start, kotse muna.
Hindi ka pa kumikita. May kotse ka na.
Yeah. So, you know, so nung nagsimula, like, I think I took a break for a year from employment to, naku, may business din ako noon, iba naman, Airbnb. So before I left my employment, ang dami kong story, ano, like you have to kind of narrow me down if I'm talking too much. Before I left my employment.
Multi-disciplinary.
Okay. Yeah, talaga multi-disciplinary. Bago ko umalis ng job ko, yun pa yung isang ginawa ko to prepare. Bago ako umalis dun sa full-time job ko, bumili ako ng duplex, so 2-unit house. And my plan was, titira ako dun sa isa, yung isa ipapa-rent ko, you know, to like have income in case yung business, yung design business ko hindi mag-move forward, at least meron akong income. But that became really successful too. You know, I ended up renting both units. So, yung income ko like was better actually kesa nung nagtatrabaho pa ako. So that helped me as well. And eventually I sold that property dahil, you know, like the value became 3 times. So, bakit hindi, di ba? And tapos bumili ako ng another property, which is now my house. As you know, the background, it's a house that I designed.
It's actually
and
really
built.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's another duplex, but instead of renting the other unit, yung nanay ko, like, lives next to me. So, pag naubusan ako ng asukal, I just go there.
Tsaka pag wala kang kulang, pwede kang kumakaw, diba?
Exactly. So, so, you know, business could be really lucrative if you really plan for it, you know. Kailangan talaga, like, you look at all the different scenarios. So, isa yun, like, itong last year, 2020, was devastating for a lot of businesses, me included. However, because, you know, I've really prepared for the worst. So, even though medyo naapektuhan kami, we're still going.
So, anong klaseng apekto ng pandemic? Like, did you lose money or walang nagko-contract sa'yo? Walang any commissioned work whatsoever? Paano?
It's slowed down. You know, kasi syempre like yung stay-at-home order. So kahit patuloy ang construction, syempre yung mga client, nasa bahay sila. So ayaw rin nila na merong nagtatrabaho sa bahay nila while they're there. So it slowed down a lot. But now I'm starting to get calls again. So yay!
Money again. Tumatawag na naman ng mga clients na magbibigay sa'yo ng pera. Now, Joey, you mentioned about the gallery kasi di ba you're also a painter and you're doing, siguro nagdi-display ka ng mga artworks and all, and you mentioned na nag-create ka or nag-put up ka ng gallery. So how was it? Parang sabi mo, it's just more fun than money, di ba? I want to ask you more about it.
So it was a warehouse building, and para ma-afford ko yung rental ng building, I actually built a mezzanine and a kitchen and a bathroom. So doon ako tumira din, to make it more affordable. So what happened would be like we would have every month magkakaroon kami ng gallery opening, which was really fun. Parang naging New York environment. Everyone wants to party in the gallery. We did sell some, but it was not nearly enough to really sustain a gallery business. And at the end, it didn't really pan out financially. Good thing I never gave up my my day job, which is architecture. So, kaya more fun than lucrative kasi there's a lot of people coming in, more artists than anything, yung buyers would come pag may party, so when there's a party, they drink, they eat. It's like, okay, buy paintings.
Like for example, ano pala yung sharing ng gallery and ng artist if the painting is sold?
That time, I only take 20%. Like most galleries, they take anywhere from 30 to 50%. Meron bang mga 60% eh. But for me, because artist din ako, no? So I built that space for me and for my artist friends. So I didn't really want to take a lot in commission. So maybe that's also the problem. I didn't charge them a lot of commission. So 20% was what I was charging them when they do sell. And yeah, so
Okay. And
ngayon
how about
yung problema ng ginawa ko. Nag-charge ako more.
you should have charged more. Baka magreklamo yung ibang gallery. Sabihin na, wow, 20 na sa kanya and we're charging like 60, 50. That's unfair.
Buti na lang din ako competition ngayon.
Okay, but you also mentioned that you do landscaping and design management as part of your portfolio. So can you tell us more about it?
So Studio Joey Inc. is a full service design studio, So from like concept to design, minsan tinutulungan din namin yung clients to identify if the property that they're looking at would fit their needs. So we cater to like aspirational lifestyle is what I like calling it, like lifestyle design, So it's not just the space, it's like how everything flows. So it's a mixture of architecture, interior design, landscape. Tapos, minamanage namin lahat of all those components hanggang sa construction. So we even help them move in. We, there are times that we even buy their towel.
Everything, huh?
Like, oh, we do architecture or we do interior design, We like doing projects that really encompasses all the disciplines within architecture, within the built environment.
And you mentioned during the pre-interview, you're now venturing into furniture design, furniture making.
Yeah, I'm really
Lahat na lang, Joey, pinakulong mo na.
Oh, pakiawan eh. Yeah, pakiawan yung business. So, we build the house, right? Or, a doctor's office or whatever. And sometimes may mga unique qualities yung space na you go shopping for furniture and it just doesn't exist. Or if it exists, it'll take super long to get there. So we started doing custom furniture. And then we've done so much custom furniture that we decided, you know what, some of this could really, we could offer it. So that's in the works. And we're also talking to some Filipino producers. So baka mag-import kami dito. Yeah. So syempre, love your own. I love the workmanship. I'm like wearing a Filipino necklace, So I want to support, I want to give back to my own community. So that's in the works.
Ang galing naman. Kung meron ka ba, like, in all these things, no, ano yung greatest challenge? Yung pinakang challenge talaga na na-encounter mo?
Keeping the focus to one thing. Like sometimes they say when you're a jack of all trades and a master of none, that's a real challenge. Kasi, like, I'm only one person and I like doing all these things. And so, where do I put my focus on? So that's one of my challenges. Because sometimes, like, I'm finishing a project and I want to, start another one, or so I get scattered, as you can see during this interview. I like start saying about something else. So, like, pag nagra-run ka ng business, importante na yung focus mo really on one thing at a time. So when you can do so many things, like it doesn't always work. So sometimes that's where I fail. I fail to focus on one thing and concentrate and put all my energy into that. Like before it finishes, my attention span goes to something else. Like I'm selling a furniture to a client or an idea of a custom furniture, and then I start talking about a painting that I can do for them. Ngayon, minsan it works because then they just like, okay, just do everything since you can do everything. But sometimes you lose them because you are talking about way too many things instead of just focusing on one.
So how do you manage it now? I mean, now that you know the weakness and this is something to improve, how do you do it now? Is somebody doing it for you, like a secretary?
Oh, so that's one thing. I have a design manager, and she was my first employee. She was my student. I used to teach in a college. Yeah. So I met her during her thesis year. I was her thesis instructor. So she's been with me from the very beginning. So she keeps my focus. When I'm too scatterbrained, she pulls me back. It's like, okay, just look at this, don't look at anything else. So she's been a really driving force. Her name's Heather. Mahal natin si Heather because she keeps me going. And during the pandemic, we lost almost everybody. Like everyone did something else. So kaming dalawa na lang uli ngayon. We started nung kaming dalawa lang. Ngayon kaming dalawa lang ulit. So she keeps my focus. But, even when she started, I never called her an assistant and I never called her, anything but a design manager. I created this culture and, I had at least maximum 6 employees at one time. And it's still, primarily a small business. So 6 is actually a lot for me to manage. Pero nag-build kami ng culture within the company that life should never be given up, Like there should always be a balance between life and work. So when life will never be ever less important than work. And because we're in a creative field, that really helps because you always feel the freedom, Kasi syempre, for us creatives, when we get constricted is when we don't really perform that well. See, naiba ko na naman yung subject.
It's okay. Pero alam mo, Joey, nagiging struggle mo ba yung, for example, you're an artist, you're a very creative person, pero i-mix mo siya sa business na something logical. Hindi ba medyo mahirap timpayin yung pagsabayin yung pareho, like being creative and being a business person at the same time?
So yes, yeah. So one is focus, like we discussed earlier. Second, when you're a creative, sometimes you cannot force creativity. Pagka wala. Like I can stare at a canvas for 3 days and not create anything. I can stare at an empty piece of paper para mag-start and design a house or another space, and I stare at that paper or my computer for days and nothing. So that's the other difficult part about making what you're good at or what you're passionate about, and if it's the creative part of life, you cannot force it. Dapat natural yun eh. So yun, dahil syempre pagka business na, you have deadlines, you have, maraming, like, you have employees for payroll, you have maraming challenges. So hindi pwedeng may black ka palagi. So kailangan you have to keep that creativity flowing. But sometimes I ask myself, like, how do you do that? And sometimes it's stepping back. I travel a lot. Isa sa mga passions ko yun is traveling. So when I really feel the block, kahit na meron akong deadline, I leave everything behind and just look at things that are fresh. And then it comes in a dream. Sometimes magigising ako, it's like, oh my goodness, I just dreamt about the whole project. And now it's a rush to like transfer that creative thought into something that you can share to other people, and sometimes it's fleeting, nawawala bigla, like nagising ka, like what, like wait, you thought about every single problem for that project, nagkaroon ka na ng solution, pero nagising ka, hindi mo na maalala kung ano yung napaginipan mo. So you almost have to just catch it. It's like a race to like catch the speed of your mind, of your creativity.
Now, how did you learn about entrepreneurship or putting up a business?
Yeah, my dad, like my mom was such a good employee, and she just loves working for other people. But my dad, cannot stay put. He needs to be on the go. So he gave me the entrepreneurial blood. And in fact, most of my family members in my dad's side, like all my cousins, lahat sila may business, So dun galing yung business ideas, yung parang gusto.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what are your 2021 plans?
To
Travel yan
to really push forward the furniture part of the business, and then I have a new idea brewing. I can't really talk about it yet, but it's a product, but kind of a bigger scale. So once that's moving, maybe I'll let you know and we can talk about it again. So that, and I want to do more ground up construction. So gusto kong mag-design ng talagang like from start, like ito yung lote, ano itatayo natin dyan, and working in partnership with a client. Isa sa mga process ko that's very different from most designers is that, I don't do idea boards. I don't do any of that. I get to know my client, like yung personal relationship. I listen to them a lot. I spend as much time as I could. Pinapanood ko like how do they drink their coffee? Like I find out what kind of coffee they drink. Are they tea drinkers? Like, or maybe it's pressed juice in the morning. Like their lifestyle. But not just the current lifestyle, what they want their lifestyle to be, like the aspirational lifestyle. And that's how, pag minsan yung client, pag bagong meet kami, it's like, oh, pakita mo sa akin yung pictures ko, anong gusto mong gawin. And I'm like, no, I don't want to have a preconceived notion of what you want or what you need. I want to get to know you and find out what you want and what you need. And then, so it's a very different process because walang inspiration from outside. The inspiration is them. The inspiration is the clothes they wear, the car they drive, how they put their makeup on, how they do their hair. So yung client yung inspiration talaga.
Galing. And Joey, sa usapang pera naman, usapang pangkabuhayan.
Oh, yeah.
How much are you earning? Or yung ballpark figure ng isang kagaya mo?
In the most successful year of the business, nasa 7 figures. So,
Wow.
yeah, we've done 7 figures 3 years in a row before the pandemic. So it's good, because there's several avenues: design services, and also we get a percentage pag bumibili ng furniture yung client, and then of course pag binili yung furniture from us, that's even a better money maker. Tapos pag bumili sila ng painting from me, then that's really good. I think the highest price painting I sold is $6,000. And the size I think is of 3 feet by 5 feet. So
Like what kind of art yun? Like what kind of painting? Is it more an abstract?
more
Modern
abstract.
painting?
Yeah, it's more abstract. Just like yung inspiration pagka nagde-design ako, inspiration in paintings is more a feeling, So it's rarely something that I can look at and copy, basically. I take photographs for that, but when I paint, it's all from here. It's all from the heart. So it's very abstract, and you either love it or hate it. But
sure
when
that-
they love it, they love it.
So do you still paint? I mean, how often do you paint these days?
Not as often as I want to. I just moved, kalilipat lang namin. And that's probably one of the biggest achievement I feel that I've done in the toughest year that all of us have known in our lives, right? Natapos this house last year. So yung mom ko lumipat ng June, tapos ako lumipat ako ng July. And it was a slow move. And we still have stuff to finish. So I'm kind of focused on that right now, like really just finishing everything up para pag ready na ako pag dumating na lahat ng clients and they're starting to come. So kailangan ready. So painting, nami-miss ko na siya, pero walang lugar ngayon. Hindi pa tapos yung studio ko in the back. So pag dumating yung time na yun, pipick. I used to paint at least every other week. So I have hundreds of paintings right now. I have a storage unit full of paintings. And I'm
Grabe, ang dami ha.
Tapos wala pa akong hinahang dito sa house namin dahil I want, I have new inspirations for the house, so I want to make new paintings. So
You also do sculptures, right?
yes, I've done.
Grabe, lahat na talaga ng talent. Kinuha mo na. Tell us about it. The sculpture.
The sculpture. So it started with ceramics, but when I do ceramics, I always try to make it functional. And then at some point, I started stone sculptures. Tapos doon ko nalaman may arthritis pala ako. So medyo mahirap. I also did a lot of plaster sculptures, paper mache sculptures, stone sculptures, metal sculptures,
Wow.
wood sculptures. So, ranging different sizes. The biggest I've done, I think, is as tall as me. It broke during one of my moves, so I don't have it anymore. But yeah, like I like trying new things. Like when I have an idea in my head, I do it. You know. So and sometimes yung mga tinatry ko nagiging successful, minsan hindi, but it's a hobby. It's what's keeping me going. It's what's keeping me inspired.
Okay, at hindi lang dyan, di ba? Meron ka pang selling sunset. Tell us more about it. Kanina hinahanap ko siya sa Netflix. Okay, but I think season 4 is not yet available here sa Philippines, so I'll check again later. But tell us about it.
My 3 seconds of fame. I was doing a house for one of my clients. Pangalawang bahay niya na yun na ginawa ko eh. But that specific house is actually for him to live in. Tapos na-pick up siya for a reality show. He's a famous real estate agent here in the Hollywood Hills. Kaya nung binibuild namin yung bahay, sabi niya, I want to show you, like I want you to be a part of it. So I was a part of it for a very short time, and and he asked me if I want to be in the other. Like, look, I'm fidgeting because I don't like talking about it too much. But it's interesting, like my dad's like, oh, I saw you on TV. Once in a while I still get those calls. Yeah, I saw you on TV. But in the end, I realized reality shows is kind of like drama a little bit. And I kind of want to be known more for, my work, not my crazy personal life. So, but it was fun.
If they invited
on JHOIEY Architect, so I designed his house, both architecture and interior design and landscape and pool and all that stuff. So it was really fun to be part of it.
Baka naman season 5 nandun ka ulit, ha?
No.
Baka maging favorite architect ka nila doon.
Season 3, yung employee ko ang nandun, my crew was part of it. I didn't show up because I'm just like, like.
I didn't know you're that shy.
I'm a little bit camera shy, but I have to do it for my business. So I'm,
Talaga? Hindi halata.
Hindi halata.
Hindi halata talaga. But anyway, JHOIEY, how do you see yourself? Ito na, parang 5-10 years from now, what do you think you're doing by then? I mean, anong pinagkakaabalahan mo nung time na yun?
Just the development of what I'm doing now, talagang mahal ko yung ginagawa ko. I love my job. Probably I would grow more into developing my own projects, like not wait for clients anymore and just start. I got my feet wet with like building this house. This house was built from ground up. So I had fun. It was very challenging. I learned a lot. I lost a lot of money doing it. So I want to leverage the things I've learned and create more sustainable homes for other people. Pero mahirap maghanap ng client minsan, Tapos minsan mahirap din i-convince to really see your vision. So marami akong natulungang developers in the past, like when I started, ang mga kliyente ko, mga developer. So I've seen how they've, learned the market, pick a spot, and so I want to do that for myself. I want to become more a developer in the future. I want to grow yung products, like I want to have a good furniture line. I want to have a good home accessory line. You know, so it more towards that. Kasi syempre, ang service, limited yung time mo eh. You know, you can't really grow more on service. You can hire more people, true, but then it becomes a watered down version of what your ideas are. You know, it's not really you anymore. Yung pa yung isa ko na find out when you start like hiring people, hiring other designers, you know, like, not that I'm not collaborative, you know, that's not what I'm saying. Like, we all need to be collaborative. But like, sometimes clients hire me for me.
Okay.
So,
They like your personality. Personality ba ang basihan?
personality. Tsaka yung, you know, yung crazy ideas ko. Tapos minsan, ang hirap dahil, you know, you send someone else to meet with them and they're like, no, I want to meet with you. So you can only spread yourself so much, you know? Kaya, so that's why I'm growing more the product part of the business. Because, you know, when I do a project, I really want to be focused. You know, gusto ko maramdaman ng client ko na sila lang yung client ko kahit na 20 yung projects na ginagawa ko. And sometimes that gets really hard. So, you know, I want to just pick fewer projects that I could really work hand in hand with my client. Tapos, you know, the other revenue making part is the product line. That's the plan.
Of all these things that you're doing right now, like which one is the most lucrative endeavor?
Yung ano pa rin, design and like when we get a whole project, you know, kasi we get paid for our services and then we do all the purchasing for them. So we make money from that, the percentage of sales. So that's probably, and then when you're doing high-end projects, that's the fun part, you know, kasi your percentage doesn't change. Pero syempre, when you're buying a $300 item versus you're buying a $30,000 item, you know, yung 20% mo, yung 25% mo, malaking difference. But you spend the same amount of time trying to convince somebody to buy, you know, a $300 item versus a $30,000 item. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. So we come to the final part, meaning maybe you can give the advice to the future Joeys in the making. Ito yung mga nag-aspire din na maging architect, maging interior designer, maging design manager, and maging artist. So what were the lessons you learned along the way that you can share with them?
You go with your passion, you know? And I will never say be fearless because fear is what keeps you safe. But it doesn't matter if you're afraid of something. If you want to do it, you do it and you give it your all. You know, passion drives me. So when I want to try something new, I try something new. I'm scared to death sometimes, you know, like I take a lot of risk. I don't gamble. I don't go to Vegas and put money on that. But I gamble to, you know, I gamble on my dreams. I gamble on my aspirations. You know, I put everything on the line to make it happen. So, yun yung ano ko, yun yung words of wisdom ko para sa lahat ng kids na nakikinig that, you know, na artist, you know, like I try my hands on everything and you should too. And one of those things will click, you know. I mean, we're intrinsically hardworking people. But I think sometimes as a culture we get scared to try things when we shouldn't, you know. Like I'm with a group of Filipino entrepreneurs here and all of us just go for it. So, yun, go for it.
Ang Miss Universe ang sagot mo, ah. And Joey, would you like to invite them or promote your Facebook page, website, or how do they contact you? And anybody to thank for?
Ang daming website niyan. The most important thing to remember is how to spell my name. If you can spell my name, you can find me. So my art website is joey.com, JHOIEY.com. My design website is studiojoey.com, STUDIOJHOIEY.com. And if you're interested to know more about yung ceramics na dinesign ko, and it's made in Italy, it's made in the Ruta by Joey.com. So MADEINDERUTA
Grabe, ang hirap! Pero don't worry, itatype natin yan dito sa ending ng ating interview. With that, Joey, thank you so much for the time. Thank you na na-inspire kami and nakakatuwa na, successful ka dyan and you're making the Filipino proud. Thank you. Thank you. Salamat. And with that, maraming salamat po sa lahat ng nanood and abangan nyo ulit yung mga susunod pa naming episodes. Thank you.
Salamat sa panonood ng Usapang Sining at Pangkabuhayan. This is Roszela Reigan of GKTV Network. Don't forget, please like, subscribe, and comment in the comment box below. Also, push that notification button for future updates. Salamat!